Welcome to game number 1 in the best of 3 series here at the ZOTAC Cup Monthly Final. We're currently looking at the semi-final and our first game on Infernal Shrines with the blue team starting to the left side. Mopsio on Leoric for JD. It's like a Polish name, and apparently we're all traveling to a city because that's what the name boils down to. But yeah, I can't pronounce that, so I'm not even gonna try. Blakitne is playing Sonya, and we have Zadoon on ETC, so a triple warrior frontline currently for the team in blue. Krays on Falstad and Kota on Malfurion for the heals. To the right side of the map, a double healer combination for the Sandwich Monkeys with ADRD on Tyrande, Anti-Hero on Thrall, Sportbilly on Rhaegar, Zarmany on Xul, and we have BKB on Diablo. So definitely an interesting setup. Not only do we see Xul, who could of course once again use the Bone Prison, he's doing that against Malfurion. Malfurion in trouble, gets nearly chased down, but the entire setup here incredibly aggressive what we are seeing for the Sandwich Monkeys. I mean, we are talking Diablo Tyrande with Xul behind him as well. The lockdown is real and Sonya is already dead. So basically, like, you have the traditional Diablo Tyrande combination with even a Thrall for the Wolf lockdown, but Xul, of course, with his Bone Prison is even more important in the setup, since you can lock any target down for as long as you really want to. So it's a bit crazy to see that. On level 1 for Xul, we see Backlash now taken. So the damage, already the kill against Leoric, and yeah, these setups are going to be so devastating. We all know how strong a Diablo and Tyrande combination can be in the early game, and of course if at the same time then you also run that together with a Xul with the damage from a Thrall, then you can do a lot with this. And we see exactly the same setup that my Insanity used a couple of times in Katowice at the regional finals with Rhaegar plus Tyrande, which can work quite well here. So the early aggression and damage output is working in their favor. It's also on Rhaegar by Sportbilly now the electric charge that they're currently using here. So Diablo and Thrall are gonna have a fun time up at the front. We're seeing for Diablo Soul Feast taken. And interestingly enough, when we're talking about Tyrande, she actually went into the mana cost reduction on the Light of Elune. So a bit of a different build that we see for her already. And personally, I'm very curious to see how exactly that's going to play out for them. The one problem that they have is that they don't really have any kind of like ranged poke. So we're not seeing a big range damage dealer on the side of the Sandwich Monkeys in the setup. The team, by the way, announced at the end of the Storms that they would disband, but they are playing here at least at the ZOTAC Cup Monthly Final together once more. So it's going to be interesting to see if that's going to be a thing or if it's actually like the last time that we see them play in this particular setup now. So with the builds that we have in the latest patch that of course has also hit the Battle.net servers, we're seeing now again Updraft chosen. So the range has been increased even more. So that makes Falstad a lot safer. Already here comes ETC. Gets locked down by a good stun, but this time there's no kill yet. Falstad starts to fly in. Diablo is still up at the front, so BKB has to be careful here. Miranda with the attempted stun again. Mopsio is very low and is attempting to move away, but Zarmany is already waiting and they take the kill against him. So we have already another lockdown against Malfurion, and the Bone Prison is definitely going to give him a very tough time here. At the same time, we see the Royal Focus taken. Now that's an interesting one. I am very much interested to see how this is going to play out for them, because I've never seen that talent taken in competitive before. This is actually like the first time. I'm not 100% certain if Mopsio maybe misclicked here, but that cooldown reduction could be kind of interesting, I suppose. But I really feel that he wanted to go for Hardened Bones here. At least I have never seen this talent before. At least not, as I said before, in competitive play. They're still fighting over the first Punisher here, with Xul being the exception. He's pushing the bot lane, and I mean, we all know how much siege damage he can actually push out. So he's currently trying to take a few of the structures down, and the longer this fight in the mid lasts, the better for the red team. Diablo is down, but it's not really the end of days. They're just like rotating back on lane and starting to get the experience. So they understand that they don't really have a chance to go for the Punisher anymore with the death of Diablo, but that they actually have to go straight to the lanes to soak experience. But Zarmany did so much damage on Xul already that he went through the entire wall, and they are nearly a level ahead in experience. So as long as they punish or like pressure and bait the Punisher here in the middle, behind the gate, they will easily be able to just like burn that down, and that's exactly what they do. In terms of talents, we have Death's Reach now taken for Xul. Very, very popular talent actually, so the range increase on the side is very powerful and incredibly strong. Healing Totem on level 4 for Rhaegar, also giving him the opportunity on those temples to have a bit more sustain for these fights. And Tyrande is starting to go into the Searing Arrows. So I kind of like that we have a bit more of a focus on damage for Tyrande, since we still have that one weakness in the team setup that I've been talking about earlier. There is no real range poke. And with Tyrande now going for a bit of single target damage, that can actually help a lot if you see all that focus that comes into play from the team. Kota apparently dropping out of the game, so Malfurion's very much alone here right now, and we need to wait for him to come back and do pausing the game. But it gives us a chance to talk a little bit about what's going on. So first of all, when it comes to talent steal, the Royal Focus here probably the most unanticipated talent that we've been experiencing so far. We have also Power Throw now taken on level 4 still. Blizzard has been trying to just like put Falstad with different builds into play in the last patch. So what they've done is not only like increase, for example, the range of the barrel roll thanks to updraft, but also when it comes to like the hammerang and everything else like the boomerang, we have now a couple of improvements for Falstad that you can use if you want to play with a build different from the auto attack build. So Melf, for him, it was only a short disconnect, so nothing like too fancy. We have on level 7 Weaken now taken, so the Curse Strikes slow. The attack speed slow is actually pretty insane. I mean, Curse Strike overall is an amazing talent. If you have such a frontline heavy setup against you, like what we are seeing from Team JD, the Polish team, then that talent is amazing. This really feels like one of the talents where he adjusted. And Zamani is already trying to go for a bit of lockdown again. BKB comes in, but ADRD with a very... Actually, doesn't even bother with the stun, so he's a bit late on this one. We have also Rampant Growth plus also Enduring Growth taken. So heals are real, for sure. The Secret Weapon taken again. But I'm very, very curious in this particular setup how especially Xul is going to plan out for them later on in the game. Diablo with more or less a normal build. I mean, we've talked about the Soul Feast on level 1. Fire Devil into battle momentum is not something that we don't get to see a lot. So if you see a Diablo, this is like the most common build on him. When it comes to like Rhaegar, we have at least Cleanse taken, so that helps a little bit with that Malfurion route that we can see, and also of course the stuns on ETC in particular. Shrine active on the map again, but you can really tell that with the pressure that Xul has been able to execute down to the bottom of the map, we are now having a very big lead in experience, which could translate into an early level 10. And it makes it very unlikely that the blue team is even going to contest that portal or that particular shrine, because they won't have a chance to fight without level 10 being ready for the opponent. And therefore, as Harmony already, they're starting to move in. Very likely, yes, there it is. We have already the Poison Nova taken. Skeletal Mages can be quite nice. Poison Nova in this setup, though, quite strong. The only problem that I have with the Poison Nova at this point is that Tranquility more or less is designed to negate exactly the damage that's being dished out by the Poison Nova. That's the only thing that can be a bit of an issue here. Tyrande, by the way, more and more skilled towards damage, going for Starfall. In this case, I actually don't mind the Starfall too much. Overall, I'm not really the biggest fan on the talent. Nice kill against Falstad and the kill against Sonya. Great play, actually, from Anti-Hero, Sportwheel and ADRD at the top lane. But the one thing that I definitely have to highlight again is that with Starfall on those particular objectives, you can get a lot of value out of this one. It's not only the damage is slow as well. Oh, here comes Xul again with the Poison Nova. They're trying to go for Malfurion. Tranquility already used. Sportbeat and BKB, they're trying to lock him down. ADRD comes in, and that could be the kill. Oh, no. Barely able to heal himself up again. Tranquility came not a moment too late. Still the Wrath of the Berserker with the Entomb chosen. And of course also that Mosh Pit on ETC. So right now JD is suffering quite a bit. I mean, we see the Sandwich Monkeys dominate the entire match so far. 5 kills against 1. Lead in experience. Throw already at the top lane, soaking EXP once again. And when it comes down to the damage, you can of course take a closer look at especially Xul here with 62,000 siege damage already. Now keep in mind that one of the reasons why he has this much siege damage is also because it was more or less left alone during the first shrine at the bottom of the map and he went through the wall. So that definitely helped to boost his numbers a bit. But he's still doubling the numbers of any other hero with the exception of Leoric, who's currently at 43,000 himself. So that's pretty powerful too. But it shows already that he is very strong. And Xul is actually also at 15,000 hero damage, which is the top damage in the entire game against heroes. So he is playing a very solid game here so far. BKB had to move away with his Diablo, so he's actually playing very safe here. He died only once, he's the only frontliner for his team. Of course, the camp down here is going to be stolen away no matter what, or at least it should be if they focus on it, but they don't. They actually delayed it a little bit, and that could now backfire very fast. Here comes the Sundering, Entomb already used. Great Entomb, by the way. The problem is that BKB is still on the spot, and there comes the Starfall. And now even the Mosh Pit. Blake in the... Oh, the Bold Prison, the kill against Sonya and Thrall, but Leoric is now dead too. And that Poison Nova is doing a world of damage. Grace and Kota, they are all so low. Kota is actually, well, Grace first of all is trying to get away, but the Bone Prison is coming in again. On 16, when you can even get the amplified damage, is of course getting even worse, because you can burst these targets down even faster than before. But right now, it's an absolutely incredible setup that we are seeing on the side of the Sandwich Monkeys. Kota is trying to somehow get away, but there's just opponents like closing in on him on every angle. Once again, he's on the run, but yeah, there's absolutely no escaping this one. Level 13 brings now also the healing surge on, sorry, my bad, the tidal waves in the hands of Rhaegar. That's going to help him a lot. Then we're seeing again the Giant's Curse here. So you already have a little bit, yeah, we have still like more damage output for him. So a bit of a focus on the Curse strikes here overall, which is going to be very powerful. The only exceptions are level 1 and level 4 so far. We're having still Giant Killer taken, by the way, on the side of Anti-Hero's Thrall. And you can really tell that this is already an adjustment to what has been happening in the game so far. We have a triple front line for the Polish team, for JD, the team in blue. And therefore, the Giant Killer definitely going to bring a lot of damage in. So, definitely a very nice adjustment. Also now, Shrink Ray used for Tyrande. It's pretty cool, actually, to see Tyrande with a completely different build here once again. And with that Rhaegar Tyrande setup, you can actually make that work. Already the Curse strikes here. Zarmony is just like pressuring everything back. It's still 13 versus 13 talents now up at the top lane, and now that we are seeing the Mystical Spear, Face Smelt, and Crushing Hope taken. Here comes the Entomb again. They're trying to go for ADRD. Nice heal. Ancestral Healing is now on cooldown for 100 seconds. The stun combo! Oh, Malfurion with the heals! Grace is still alive for a few more seconds, but he falls, and so does Sonya. Malfurion is also dying. And now they're trying to just like clean house. They go for Zedun and for Mopsio. Everybody's just like trying to stay alive a bit longer. ETC could actually make it if he slides away one more time. Diablo not able to move in, but they are getting Leoric instead. Nice kill. 13 kills against 2, and the setup that we are seeing for the Sandwich Monkeys is working perfectly. They're dominating the game right now. The Poison Nova is doing so much damage in these fights. There's the amplified damage, as we've already been expecting. And this is, of course, now more or less the death blow right there. I mean, if you are going up against the Bone Prison already, and then it also allows you to burst the target down even faster, this is like the dream scenario for the Sandwich Monkeys. And for the team in blue, for our Polish competitor here, this is going to be an absolute nightmare. The Kidney was actually thinking about going for the camp, but Anti-Hero is already in position. Rising Storm taken, still on the side of Rhaegar, and at least the Tempest Fury for Thrall here. So overall, just to give you a bit of an idea about the damage, just look at Xul here with 36,000 already against heroes, doubling the damage of Leoric, who is the highest damage dealer on the side of the blue team. So that already tells you pretty much all that you need to know in this case. That Poison Nova in particular against this many frontliners is of course amazing. Again, the attempted lockdown here. Punisher is moving in, and the Sandwich Monkeys, they're trying to go for the first keep of the game. And so far it looks like nothing is going to be able to stop them. They're nearly 3 levels ahead of their opponent. Here comes that Bone Prison with the amplified damage and the kill against ETC. Oh no, actually he survives for a bit longer, but only for a second. Then ETC and Leoric both die together. Here comes also again the heal from Kota, who's trying to keep people alive with his tranquility. But Malfurion is down, locked down by Xul, and it's just such an annoying hero to play against. It's one of the reasons why you actually see Xul in every single EuroLeague game these days. The Kidney is jumping in now as well, and Zarmony is finally dying. This is actually like one of the first kills that we see against Xul, so at least they get a bit of a revenge against the Necromancer here. Mopsio was trying to jump in, and yeah, the only thing that he achieved with that is that he died a little faster. That was unfortunate for him. Yeah. I mean, overall, once again, just like looking at a bit of the damage output and also the deaths here, we see Leoric now with 6 deaths already, 4 on Sonya. Tippy Kippy with Hello Mopsio. Not 100% certain what that... Hi Mopsio, bye Mopsio. Not quite sure if the guys are currently just like trolling around a little bit, or if that's actual BM. I don't really think so. BKB is usually not the type for that. So probably a bit of friendly banter that we see between the two teams here. When it comes to talents, the level 16 talent is at least going to be ready very soon on the side of the blue team, and that might be the chance that they need to come back into this. because right now it's really looking bad. They have now the level 16s, and in this case it's the Nerves of Steel for Sonya. We are also seeing, of course, Speed Metal plus Hammerang. Consume Vitality. Yeah, a bit of survivability is something that Mopsy can definitely need here, honestly, Auric. But the lockdown attempt. Uh-oh, Diablo with the Apocalypse starting to stun. Mighty Gust being used. Falstad survives thanks to the updraft. He gets away, but he is killed regardless. ETC with a mosh pit. Anti-hero can't interrupt it right away, but this is going to be a team wipe. Everybody down. ETC gets his full ult through, but it doesn't really matter. In this case, they just completely walk through the opponent. The 3-level lead, 22 kills against 3. It is an entire disaster. They go through the wall and they try to go for core. They're going to ignore those keeps completely and go straight for the kill here. So in this case, ladies and gentlemen, it's very likely that this game is going to end here. The Auric is going to be back in a second, but he won't be able to stop this. This is going to be game number 1 in favor of the Sandwich Monkeys. They are back and back with a vengeance. They take game number 1 in this best of 3 series here at the semi-final of the ZOTAC Cup Monthly. Congratulations, well played, and we're of course going to jump into game number 2 in a moment to see who's going to take the second game. Alright everybody, game number 2, Tomb of the Spider Queen. This time we actually get into the draft a little bit faster than the last time. Biggest question, of course, is now who is going to ban or play Xul. I mean, the last time we actually saw him on Infernal Shrines, and that worked out quite well. But they actually ban him out. It's kind of interesting to see that. It kind of indicates that they don't, that either they haven't really played a lot with him or they don't own him, like one of those. Because usually you would think that they would just ban out something else and would allow the opponent to just like simply either ban him out or they get it. But right now they decide to ban him out. It would be a great asset actually to any kind of team on Tomb of Spider Queen, which is of course a map where pushing and wave play is incredibly strong and very powerful. So in this case the Necromancer is not going to make an appearance here. We could still see a Li Ming taken early on. For now it's actually the Sandwich Monkeys with a ban apparently on Sonya, at least they're currently thinking about it. Sonya, of course, would be a very, can be a very strong hero. It's kind of interesting still that she's going to be banned out here. We have seen a bit more of a focus on Sonya bans overall. Thrall, on the other hand, filling a very similar role, is now the hero that they switch over to. So Sonya and Thrall roughly on the same level, or when it comes down to the role that they play within a game. Of course, Thrall with his Sundering has a little bit more of a better initiation. And in this case, Jimmy do Sosnovka, if that's pronounced correctly, I have no clue, is picking Li Ming first. Basically, like, the team name means we're going to Sosnovka, which seems to be like a city in Poland that has a bit of a bad reputation. Li Ming as the first pick here, and Zagara, not really a big surprise for the Sandwich Monkeys. So, if you play with the setup here, you can think about like going for a Rhaegar right now. You can also like think about, of course, the Tassadar, but usually you try to pick the Rhaegar up very early, at least when it comes to the European scene. Overall, teams still prioritize Rhaegar very highly. He's not really a first pick anymore or a first ban, but he's still a hero that the teams are trying to lock down as soon as they can, since they prioritize Rhaegar over any other healer, at least in most setups. So the Sandwich Monkeys, if Sport really wants to play on Rhaegar again, would probably go for a pick on him. If not, they can still combo this off with potentially an ETC, for example. We're having a couple of damage healers that would make a lot of sense on this map now as well. But right now, I would still like bet on either a frontliner, maybe a Muradin, maybe an ETC, or that Rhaegar, as already mentioned, depending a bit on how they prioritize the game right now. Li Ming, on the other hand, already taken. You want to make sure, like, you have always that problem that they could take a Greymane as well. So that's another hero that has to be considered here. If Li Ming and Greymane are now being locked down, then that's a lot of poke, that's a lot of damage already. But the Sandwich Monkeys, as expected, they prioritized Rhaegar after they already chose Zagara here early on. So Tassadar would be a decent choice here for the Polish team, especially of course if they decide to go into a double healer composition and they also like take Tassadar away from the Rhaegar team. And in addition to that, of course, he has the Oracle that he can use against Zagara. And it seems like they actually let Greymane slide for now and move into a frontliner. And letting ETC go is also interesting. We could see an ETC ban here, considering that Rhaegar and Zagara are chosen, so that more into Mosh Pit is still a very huge threat. And right now, it seems like Johanna is going to be the pick. I mean, Johanna, of course, on Tomb of the Spider Queen, pretty powerful in the sense that you have a lot of wave clear on the hero, and it also helps you with the shield clear. But Lunara is also the hero that we've seen here quite some time. I would actually like the Lunara a bit more than the Johanna. Sonya works as well. Sonya works for a different reason as well. Like, the reason why I would have preferred a Lunara over the Johanna is that there was no really contention on the tanks just yet. So you have really a huge pool of tanks to choose from that would make sense on the map. And that's why I would have preferred Lunara over Johanna. I'm totally okay with that Sonya, though, because with the ban on Thrall, the Sandwich Monk is more or less indicated already that they are, first of all, trying to get rid of the Bruisers here, and it's very likely that they would have tried to pick up Sonya themselves. And with Sonya and Tassadar already as a combo, you have a very beefy front line here with the Leeching Plasma that can be taken on level 4. Sonya with quite a bit of damage, you create space for Li Ming, and you put a lot of pressure with like that burst damage on the slams on the opponent. Cho'Gall banned. Sandwich Monkeys are kind of notorious for playing Cho'Gall, and this is one of the best Cho'Gall maps. My Insanity and the Sandwich Monkeys have played the hero several times here. And that ban on Leoric already, of course, like threatening a Cho'Gall. You can always argue that they were trying to like bait out the Cho'Gall ban because they want something else. There's still that Grey main to consider, as we said before. And the Sandwich Monkeys actually now go for Johanna here after Sonya was already taken. Johanna is a very solid pick. That was never in question. But yeah, so Leoric banned out, a bit more pressure onto the front line. We could still see an ETC on the side of the Polish team, for example. When it comes to the Sandwich Monkeys, personally, I would really like to see the Grey main. Of course, there have been a couple of changes in the last patch. The poke is not as strong anymore, so when it comes down to wave clear, he's not as powerful as he was before the patch. Same is, by the way, true also for Vala, whose multi-shot build got a little bit nerfed. Like, multi-shot does less damage now. Still a great talent and a great tool in particular after level 13, but I would say Greymane is still in a situation where he can do a lot, and Greymane is being picked here indeed. So we have that Greymane pick. And now for JD, first of all what we need is definitely a solid frontliner. Muradin can be taken. Of course, it's always the question, do you want something that has additional wave clear? If that's the case, I mean, there's a couple of ways you can play this right now. ETC would make a lot of sense here. You could play this with a Diablo as well if you really wanted to, even though I don't really feel like he would fit as well. But you can either go into a Muradin or you can go into an ETC. Both of them would serve the purpose, I feel. And then you can always decide if you want to go into another range damage dealer, or if you are just like trying to get maybe a Tyrande in there with a Tassadar, which I wouldn't mind too much. Currently they're thinking about it as well, so they understand that they have the option to play with the Tyrande not only as a double support setup, but they could also decide to go into one of those Searing Arrow builds which we've seen in the last game played by the Sandwich Monkeys. It's a little bit different for them right now, but they could definitely do it. They will need some damage, but Tyrande, of course, with the Owl build is also able to get some damage out there. So she's definitely a hero that they could use. Zeratul will be extremely aggressive, though, and they do that. Europe in general is starting to play a bit more Zeratul. And there's the Muradin. Now, Zeratul is great, and I'm actually very happy that we see more Zeratul in Europe. But I feel, especially with that Muradin plus Sonya, personally I would have probably gone for that Tyrande option. Which is, of course, something that people go away from a little bit. But I still believe that it would have been a very nice scenario, because you basically dominate the rotation between top and mid lane if you go for that setup. With Zeratul, you can do that too. Like, you have definitely a setup that allows you to get a lot of damage in against Greymane, against also Zagara, for example. But they should still be able to control this to a certain extent. But I really feel that the setup with Tyrande would have given them a bit more early game pressure to dominate that rotation. The Sandwich Monkeys with an Arthas here that helps against Zeratul. The Frozen Tempest in particular is going to reveal him quite easily. So that's going to be pretty strong, and the lockdown is also going to be there. Syndragosa has been chosen several times, and the extra damage that it does now in those small corridors is very strong against heroes as well, even though Army of the Dead could be chosen here. But we have a Johanna at Arthur's side, so you don't really have to. Interesting setup here. Sandwich Monkeys with a strong, very, I would say, like standard draft that we're currently having for them. And JD with an adjustment on Zeratul. I could have seen the Tyrande there. They've been thinking about it for a long time. But Zeratul definitely giving them a lot of opportunities with the Void Prisoner later for a disengage, for a good setup. Even though in this case there's not really a big follow-up, especially. Like, it will be exceptionally from Muradin and the double stun. But it's an interesting setup nonetheless. And, well, we're going to find out if the Sandwich Monkeys are going to be able to take game number 2, or if the Polish team is able to turn things around and force game 3. Game number 2, everybody, starting on Tomb of the Spider Queen. And to the left side of the map now we have the Polish team in blue with Mopsio on Zeratul. We have Kota and Tassadar on the solo support for the team, Zadoon on Muradin, Blakitny on Sonya, and Krace on Li Ming. And to the right side of the map, the Sandwich Monkeys in the lead in the best-of-3 series here at the ZOTAC Cup Monthly Final with ADRD on Zagara, Zarmany on Johanna. We have Antihero on Greymane, Sport Billy on Rhaegar, and BKB on Arthurs. Now, it's definitely an interesting setup that especially like JD is playing here. They were thinking about picking a Tyrande over a Zeratul, which would have given them, of course, a double support and made it a bit easier for them. But that Tassadar is going to have to work overtime right now. Muradin at the front line could go for that Storm Bolt, and, well, that looked a little bit silly. They moved right into the middle. We're trying to find an opponent, and then they found a few, and they immediately run back again. So that apparently did not work as intended. Currently, we have 5 heroes in the mid lane. Now, overall, still the setup that is being run here is one that can be very, very strong. And ADRD, nice. Smart kid. Smart boy. Look at that. Attaboy. Takes the safe route, doesn't really go through the middle here where we already have 2 heroes waiting for him. So in this case, he's going to be completely safe, and that works well for him. The rotation between the top and the middle, so we have like a 4-1 split, 1 hero down to the bot lane, going for the solo lane. That's usually ADRD on his Zagara, and he's probably going to face Sonya in this case now. But we normally have a rotation between the middle and the top, and this one should or would have been definitely dominated by the blue team if they would have gone for Tyrande. But even with Mopsio and Zeratul, they should be able to put a lot of pressure in this for this one. So the bot lane, Zagara should actually like out-push Sonya in this case. But for now the rotation is starting, and we have Arthurs, and yeah, Arthurs actually went for the Regeneration Master. They're trying to go for Muradin. Oh, nice kill. Well done. So Muradin actually taken out early on in the game, so that really helps, and that starts already a very bad trend for the blue team, because they were kind of supposed to, if not win the rotation, then at least put up a pretty huge fight. And instead, they are already down 1 hero in kill. So it looks more and more like the red team is going to get some early momentum here. Especially now that rapid displacement has also been taken on Zeratul. That, of course, helps overall, especially in the early stage of the game with a bit more mobility. But it also means that in the late game, Zeratul is going to have a little bit less sustain on these lanes. Again, in terms of talent, Shot of Fury taken for Sonya. And we're having also for Johanna, Knight Takes Pawn chosen. Like the only map where you oftentimes, or not often, but occasionally you see a different talent instead of Knight Takes Pawn on Sonya's level 1 is these days Infernal Shrines. Sonya actually taken down at the bottom of the map, for Johanna I mean. So yeah, for Johanna you can take a different talent on a map like Infernal Shrines, because the minions that you have to collect on the shrines themselves are not affected by Knight Takes Pawn anymore. You still have, of course, the wave clear, but if it all comes down to you playing a solo Johanna on Infernal Shrines, then sometimes players are going away from Knight Takes Pawn and start to shift into different teams on the board. But for now, again, a double kill already to start things off with for the Sandwich Monkeys, and they have very nice pressure play down to the bottom here. So ADRD is holding the lane quite nicely. The Healing Totem chosen for Rhaegar. Zeratul still looking for an opportunity to maybe get a kill. Mopsio is already starting to move in. Went straight into the attack damage. The Master Warblade has been used here. And he's attempting, of course, to get a bit more damage onto that backline. Especially Antihero on his Greymane needs to be careful. Not really the most hit point heavy hero that we are seeing on this part. Again, up at the top lane, here comes that pressure play. Zadoon at the front. But overall, still the red team is starting to get ahead in experience. It's not really like a massive lead or anything, but it translates into an earlier level 7. And if you get the Web Weaver wave and you start to snowball a little bit towards level 10, then you can just like continue by turning in over and over again, get the momentum going for yourself, take structures down and establish a lead in talents, which is going to be what the teams are going to try and hope for. Envenom Spines on level 4 for ADRD is a massive talent, by the way. It's one of the best talents for Zagara and one of the strongest. It's not only about like that range increase, but that extra damage is super annoying as well. So as long as you move into auto attack range and you just poke a little bit from a distance, you can get a lot of momentum out of this and really dominate a lane. So level 4 is really one of the talents that gives Zagara a huge amount of pressure against an opponent, even with the Hunter Killers nerfed a bit. That was one of the results in the last patch, that Hunter Killers having now a little bit less hit points. Overall, they got nerfed, which was just, I mean, that was a change that has been begging to be implemented for like months right now. So in this case, it finally happened. But also with the rapid incubation now on level 7, this is insane sustain that we have at the bot lane here for Yagi Sagara. Level 7, that's the extra talent, and the Web Weaver's coming in, and now we're starting exactly into the situation that I've been talking about earlier. Already the pressure play here in the middle. It's a 5 versus 4, but Johanna is moving over. They're pushing the opponent back. Conviction used after Laws of Hope, and still that poke from a distance by Li Ming. But this is a lot of pressure here. And with Sagara joining them in the middle, we are seeing something that is a bit atypical. Usually she's still trying to push the bot lane alone, but right now it's just 5 heroes in the middle trying to go through that wall. ADRD starting to move away, but Mopsio is already right on his heels, attempting to take him down. BKB with the zone here, making sure that nobody is going to flank ADRD, and they're starting to move down to the bot lane slowly and steadily. Blake Kidney and Mopsio attempting to take the Web Weaver down, but up at the front, BKB already eliminating tower number 2, and Anti-Hero is making his way to the bot lane as well to put more pressure onto the Web in particular. And if they can take that down, that would be a huge win here already. But the Storm Bolt against BKB, and Muradin is very much dead. Mopsio is trying to get those few gems, and he will be able to escape, but it looks like at least the well is going to fall here. On level 7, we now have also, in the case of Mopsio, first aid taken. First aid taken, so a few adjustments going away from that massive damage burst that we oftentimes see. We have no level 7 yet on the side of Rhaegar, which oftentimes is basically a question of whether you want to go for Farsight against a stealth hero like Zeratul. If you're going to go for Cleanse against the Stormbolt, that would be quite nice. Or if you just say, like, screw all of that, Blood and Thunder it is, I want my cooldown reduction so they can spam out my healing a little bit more. But even Farsight would be great here, because first of all it puts more pressure on Mopsio and Zeratul, and also it allows you to just get a good glimpse at what's happening over the turn-in points. If Zagara does not really, like if the creep tools of Zagara are constantly just removed, then that might be the talent that you're looking for. But right now we still have Rhaegar waiting a bit. He of course wants to see what happens on the next few levels, and doesn't really have to make a decision just yet. He can like quick pick that talent during one of those fights that is now coming and see if he really needs cleanse or not. The turn-in attempt number 2, and that's really what I've been talking about earlier. With the turn-in for the blue team delayed, we have level 10 now finally reached, and now with that, they should be able, the blue team that is, oh sorry, the red team, should be able to get a second turn-in, and that is really when things are starting to become very dangerous. Syndragosa indeed has been taken. We've been touching upon that a little bit during the draft already. It's a talent that is now able to do a lot more damage against heroes. One of the latest changes, one of the latest patches has actually changed that a little bit. And in those small quarters that you oftentimes see here, that's something that can be used now as well. So once more, as you can see, Rhaegar is really waiting with his level 7. He wants to know if he needs to go into something like Cleanse here. So he's going to wait until the heroics are going to be chosen for the opponent, and it's going to have a bit of wait. There's no real reason for him to choose those talents just yet. Cleanse is always one of the talents that you're trying to wait for a little bit longer. And in this case, he wants to make an informed decision on that, and as long as the opponent doesn't even have the heroic abilities, there's no necessarily need for them to make that work. Pressure play again. Here's the level 10s now. Disintegrator's already been chosen, so Rhaegar's going to have a close look at that. And here comes Wrath of Berserker, here comes the Avatar, and the Force One. And immediately Rhaegar is picking his talents. No cleanse needed in this case now for him. There's of course a couple of alternatives where cleanse can be quite nice and can really... Oh, for now, nice Void Prism in the back line. And immediately the jump on BKB who goes down. The resets for Craze. He can go in once again for the Disintegrate. Well done here on the side of the blue team. So a great job. We're currently seeing also now Wrath of Berserker, which has been changed. Cooldown increase on the hero's talent in the last patch. Force Wall and the Void Prism. And up to the top lane right now, we are also seeing a bit more pressure thanks to the Web Weavers. Maybe even another fort that's being destroyed, but here comes that Nexus Integrate. Spot Billy! Oh, Blake hit me a moment too late with that damage, and the heal goes through. Nice kill against Tassadar, and Li Ming is dead as well. Great job here. 4 versus 4 situation, and they're able to get a double kill, a triple kill, as Anti-Hero is mercilessly making his way over. The quad kill confirmed. Mopsio is looking for Anti-Hero here. Sport Billy still waiting. They see Mopsio. They know where he is. They're trying to block him actually, and he's revealed, but they can't get the kill. Anti-Hero is going to TP away here, and for now we're seeing him just like getting as many of those gems as he possibly can. But again, the problem still remains. No turn-in the entire time on the side of the blue team. They haven't even turned in a single gem yet. So that's the biggest problem that they're facing right now. And they already lost 2 of the forts, and another one is being pressured at the bottom of the map. So this one could fall as well. Unfettered Assault. We have Tidal Waves chosen. Arthur's decided to play it super safe here with his level 13 talent going straight into a spell shield, and I mean for good reason. Li Ming in particular is going to dish out a lot of damage and has been the demise of Arthur's already once, so he's trying to stay alive a bit longer. We are still seeing Johanna going into the Burning Rage, which of course is quite nice. But yes, here comes the lockdown attempt against not only the fort, but they're trying to go for Muradin. Avatar has been chosen, he's attempting to escape. Not sure if that's going to work out. It might just, to be honest. Nah. Anti-hero goes for his ult, go for the throat, and he gets the kill. But Zagara is dead as well. No level 13 talent though. Disintegrate being used, interrupted by Zarmony and is condemned. And up to the top, Anti-hero is trying to escape here. No level 13 talent for the blue team still. But they get the kill against Rhaegar, who heals himself a bit too late. And now BKB is being attacked. Again, Kraze with a Disintegrate. Mopsio jumping in. Zeratul doing a ton of work right now together with Blakidney on a Sonya. And they are going to get BKB eventually. I mean, he can dance around as long as he wants, but that doesn't change the fact that he is going to die. So 4 kills against 8 overall, turn-in potential now. Mopsio alone has enough of those gems, and he is trying to get rid of them. Li Ming going straight into Glass Cannon. And also now Muradin with the Burning Rage as well. Finally going to allow him to take care of a few of those creep tumors at least. Also Mystical Spear now chosen. And we're having Castler probably again with the Prescience here. Be a bit surprised to see him not go for the safety net. Zeratul on the other hand, of course, he has a couple of choices of what he could go for here right now. But usually it's the Wormhole that we still see. We have up at the top lane with a bit of pressure. It's actually interesting to me that Zeratul hasn't made this choice yet. And he's not going for Wormhole. Screw that. He's going straight for the Assassin's Blade. More damage for him. Bursting Greymane away. Bursting Zagara or Rhaegar. So, yep, damage it is. He has the rapid displacement, which gives him mobility, but Wormhole is something that he just lets go for now. So they pressure the top lane. It's the first Web Weaver wave that the blue team has been able to complete. At the bottom of the map, Zagara is taking down the first Web Weavers. The mid lane has already been defended against by the rest of the team. It's level 13 versus 13 talents, and both of the teams are still looking for an opportunity here. Zagara is making her way over up to the top, and she's desperately needed here, since we have a major push going from the blue team. Blakidney moving away right now. And apparently they are happy with the structures that they were able to take down. But no, they try to collapse on Anti-hero. They're trying to take him down. Ancestral Healing was good. Can he get away though? Jumps into the Void Prison. Good Maw from AD Arty. Very good Maw. And the kill against Zeratul. Zeratul is down, and Blakidney, and also, yeah, they're trying to go for AD Arty, but this is going to be a double kill, an easy one at that. Qatar is just barely getting away here, but Muradin is not so lucky. It's a triple kill once again against the JD. The blue team is in trouble since level 16 is going to hit now any second. And just look at the damage over here. 31,000 for Zagara. We're seeing Li Ming at 39,000 still with the top damage. Talzin, by the way, at 91,000 siege damage, which isn't too bad. Even Johanna can't reach those numbers. She's currently looking at 79,000. But the level 16 talent is, of course, what is a little bit more important here. The boss is very unlikely that they can really contest it. Anti-hero is already poking and trying to occupy them a little bit. But with the boss now being taken, we have at the same time the Concentrated Blast, the Rising Storm taken for Rhaegar. We're seeing Arthurs with a Stone Skin, and they're jumping in again. So great talents that we have actually chosen here. And it's actually, once again, a bit of an interesting development that Johanna did not go for Imposing Presence. Fanaticism it is instead, so it's a bit more movement speed that she has right now, which she can use in these situations. Considering that we have on the side of the opponent a Zeratul, and also, of course, a Sonya, Imposing Presence would have also been another talent that could have been chosen here. But that movement speed will allow her to go a bit deeper in these scenarios. And also get away in precarious situations. They have nearly an entire level lead still, and that allows them, of course, to run with that level 16 advantage and poke a bit from a distance here. The Web Weavers are going to come in soon, and the Web Weavers, of course, always spawn where you push the wave in, right? So as long as you push those lanes out, you can get the most amount of pressure from them. And that's what they're trying to do then. Here comes again Zendragosa, disabling already the keep. It's a great tool for that. Works a little bit like Sylvanas if you so want. But we're having, with the Web Weavers now moving in, of course, easy kill of the keep. Yeah, I mean, that was a secured one already. BKB with the perfect timing on Zendragosa. And at that point, you could really tell that the blue team accepted already that they had no chance of defending this. They understood right away when Syndragosa came out that they had no opportunity to save the keep at the top, so they immediately abandoned it, moved into the middle of their base and to the bottom, and defended against the rest of the Web Weavers. At least did their best. They still have the core taking care of the Web Weaver up here, but they completely ignored it, and that was the best decision that they could have made in this situation. They at least defended the bot lane. They have a bit of a play here in the middle with level 60 now coming in, an opportunity for them to maybe turn things around. Muradin jumps away, Stormform, yes, there we have it. And of course also the nerves of Steel have been using, and Mirror Ball. And with Mirror Ball, the damage that we can see from Kraze is going to be very significant. It's interesting to note that Zeratul himself also went straight into the Stone Skin here, so he wants to be a bit more safe when he jumps in, since oftentimes Zeratul is getting focused right away. And that actually was the downfall of Mopsio in a few of these fights. He jumped into the backline, tried to do the damage, didn't have Wormhole, and then immediately was attacked and could not sustain it because he doesn't have Regeneration Master, nor did he have anything else. But now we have him on Stone Skin, and we have him also with the first aid, so he has 2 talents that give him a bit of survivability, but still the kill. Zeratul down, no chance, and this is just like the entire team breaking apart. Down goes Muradin, it's the triple kill. Tassadar moves to the right, he's trying to escape here, but the Sandwich Monkeys are absolutely merciless when it comes to the pressure play now. They're jumping into the middle of the map, they're trying to lock down Kraze. Are they gonna go for core here? It's a 5 versus 3, and they actually move away. Anti-hero is there again. Syndragosa used. Rhaegar is dead though. They try to go for core, but maybe there was a bit of a premature core. Kraze needs mana, and he needs it desperately, but I'm really not sure if the Sandwich Monkeys can finish the game here. I actually don't think so. They are very optimistic when it comes to that. Even with the catapults here dishing out the damage, it's just not enough. 85 hit points, 83 hit points on the core, and yep, now they have to move away. So they could have taken a keep. They decided to play it for core, but the problem is that Rhaegar died. And with Rhaegar falling, you don't have to sustain any longer. And that was the big problem. The kill against Rhaegar was definitely what helped the blue team to defend the core here for the most part. But it's the only hero that they lost here. So they wasted a bit more time than they needed to. They didn't really capitalize on the fact that they killed 3 heroes because they did not take down one of the keeps. But they put some pressure on the core itself, which definitely helped, and they didn't really lose too much. Muradin, by the way, on 6 deaths already, which is actually pretty impressive for a Muradin, dying 6 times here, so that's not an easy task. Then again, let's be fair, he is the only frontliner and is oftentimes locked down and focused pretty hard. So Muradin doesn't have an easy life here. He needs to stay at that front line, and we have quite a bit of lockdown and burst on the side of the Sandwich Monkeys. They are 1 level away from level 20, which would give them a massive lead here, of course. Jen and Greymane, the 2 heroes that haven't died yet. Anti-hero really playing a great game here on his Greymane. Once again, locked down. Nice Howling Blast. Once more, they jump in with a Void Prism. Mopsio and Blikidney, anti-hero. They want to make sure that he dies at least once, and they succeed. Rhaegar is too late with the Ancestral Healing. Sport Biddy did not get the chance to use that earlier, and here comes Kraze. Thanks to the reset, he gets to disintegrate in again, but Muradin is dead. The Maw trapping nearly everyone. The kill against Zeratul, and in they go. Blikidney is going to fall, sacrifices himself. There's no other word for it because that was definitely a suicide. Kota is also going to go down unless he can. Yeah, he triggers the Prescience, but now he's going to be chased down finally. I mean, Sport Billy, if he gets another totem in, well, they actually don't even bother. The cooldown was ready once again, and now they want to finish what they started earlier already. Finish that core off. They go straight for the kill. The Sandwich Monkeys by now with a level 20 talent, with the Indestructible here. Now Zagara is not even taking a level 20 talent yet, neither is Arthur's. Could easily go for any kind of like hard shield if he needs more sustain for this fight, but he doesn't really need to. The game's over. It's a 2-0 victory in this case for the Sandwich Monkeys. GG and well played. They will advance to the grand final of the ZOTAC Cup Monthly Final here. Really well played and a well-deserved victory here on Tomb of the Spider Queen.
And that is it, everybody. GG and well played. The game's over, and therefore also the video for today here on KhaldorTV. We had another great Heroes of the Storm match, and I hope that you enjoyed it. Also hope that you enjoyed the commentary, of course. So thank you very much for tuning in today. If you enjoyed the video, make sure that you give it a thumbs up on YouTube. And of course, if you haven't subscribed to KhaldorTV yet, you should definitely hit that sub button as well. If you have some friends that like Heroes of the Storm, then definitely make sure that you show them the channel and also the video. There's a lot more where that came from. We're going to have like continuous content throughout the next few weeks with more Heroes of the Storm matches played, not only on the European server, but also on the North American server, in tournaments, in leagues, and more than that. So guys, once again, thank you very much for tuning in today. I hope that you had some fun. It was a pleasure casting for you. And I'm going to see you next time with even more videos here on the channel. So have a great day and see you soon. Bye-bye.